Hi everybody, it's Nunu, and my purpose in this video is to provide an overview of the 4 pop writing assignments you will complete in this course, and I'm going to be using pop writing for Sweat as an example. Now, each of the pop writings involves narrator and conflict plot, self-assessment. You are going to test your knowledge of what a narrator is in a story and what conflict and plot are. So the first question to answer in this overview is, what on earth is a pop writing? Well, in this course, a pop writing is a 125-word story. It's just half a page, and it just explodes on the page very, very quickly. It's beginning, middle, and end like a kernel of popcorn. It just happens very, very quickly. Now, why on earth am I doing this to you? Is it possible to even write this kind of story? It's definitely possible, so you want to read the assignment notes very carefully, which will show you where a sample assignment is and how you will be evaluated in this assignment, show you where to look for the rubric, the criteria for succeeding in this assignment. Now, why am I requiring you to write a short story in just 125 words for it to just pop on the page that way? I want to show you that it's very important for you to have a conflict in a story almost immediately. And a conflict is a problem that a character overcomes or doesn't overcome. And the plot is what happens. How the character overcomes or doesn't overcome the conflict in a story. And the narrator, of course, is who is telling the story, what kind of narrator we have. And there are basically 7 kinds of narrators. There are just 7 types of conflict in fiction and 9 basic plots which you are going to become familiar with. Now, something incredibly important in each pop writing is this fact. You will be duplicating the conflict, the plot, and the narrator in a famous short story. And in the case of this assignment, this pop writing, you would be duplicating what Zora Neale Hurston does in Sweat, her short story, in terms of conflict, plot, and narrator. Now, before you duplicate the conflict, plot, and narrator of a famous short story in each of our 4 pop writings, we will have discussed this story at length, and we also will have taken quizzes on conflict, plot, and narrator, so you'll be familiar with these terms. Now, an important question is, if you are duplicating the conflict, plot, and narrator in a famous short story such as Sweat, aren't you just rewriting the story? You're not, and let me show you why you're not. So there are 7 kinds of conflict or problems approximately that human beings deal with. And one example is person versus person. And there are 9 kinds of plot, or what happens, how this conflict is resolved. And one of the plots can be overcoming the monster. So we could have 100, 1,000 stories with the same conflict and plot, and each of these stories would be different. And how would they be different? It depends on how we dress up the story. So, for example, we can have a woman confronting and leaving her abusive husband. So that's person versus person, and that's overcoming the monster, the abuser. We can have a child confronting and triumphing over the school bully. We can have a guy confronting and ending the relationship with a frenemy that pretends to be a friend but tries to injure him at every available opportunity. The frenemy encourages him to party, although he's in a serious relationship, encourages him to skip work or school. So these are the different ways in which we can use the same conflict and the same plot to tell a different story. It's how we dress up the story, what flesh we put on the bones of the story. And bones is a really great word for conflict and plot, the bones of the story. So those 125 words, I have a reason for giving you just this economy of words, this half page to make a story explode, just pop on the page. It's because something needs to happen in a story. There needs to be a problem, a conflict that a character overcomes or doesn't overcome. What happens, the plot, and somebody needs to tell the story. Now, the self-assessment part of this assignment occurs when you write the story, but more particularly in the peer evaluations is where you really perform self-assessment, and you're going to evaluate two peers' pop writing stories, and you're going to be letting your peer know if your peer succeeded in duplicating the conflict and plot of Hurston's story Sweat, and using the same kind of narrator Hurston did in her story. Now, don't worry as you write the story. If you make mistakes, I'm going to comment directly into this discussion forum, and this assignment takes place in a discussion forum. And I will ask you questions that you can answer if you made a mistake, and you can correct them. And you'll be fine. You'll do well on this assignment. Just give it 100%. Work hard, and let's fulfill the assignment purpose of self-assessment, which is understanding that we need to have a problem occur in a story, a conflict, very quickly. The plot is all about how this conflict is resolved or not resolved, and somebody tells a story. Now, if you have any questions or concerns, I'm in inbox, and I keep my Zoom office hours which are posted in the syllabus. So let's have fun in this assignment, and let's develop your storytelling skills.